What if I told you that traveling the world is way easier than you imagine? Because I've spent 20 years traveling the entire planet, and it only cost me less than 20%, even 10% of what it cost others. And no, I didn't work for any airline companies, I didn't get any discount, but I simply mastered the one trick I'm going to show you in the next 4 minutes to keep my travel costs all the way down.
And after knowing this one thing, you will wish you had watched this video earlier.
And let us start off with the story, because just like many of you, my family didn't know how to travel. And whenever we would try to plan a vacation, we were often shocked by the money the travel agencies told us would cost, to the point we didn't go on any trip for almost a decade. And then the internet was invented, a time when anyone can book their own flights and hotels have now arrived. And that's when I realized one thing that rolled into a big money-saving snowball. And that is flight tickets and hotel costs don't stay the same. They have high seasons when everyone wants to go there, and they have low seasons when fewer people want to visit the place, and the price is significantly cheaper.
And that's the first tip I have for you, and that is letting your budget decide where you want to travel to.
So let's jump right into Google Flights, which is how I plan the majority of my trip. Let's say you live in San Francisco and you want to visit Rome right now, but as you can see, it costs almost $2,700 to fly to Rome without any stop. Even Google is telling you that you're picking the most expensive time to travel based on data. But if you travel there during the low season like December, when fewer people want to visit Rome, it now costs a little more than $700 for a round trip. Even Google says the prices are currently low and you're saving money. And what's even better with Google Flights is that you can say you want to go anywhere, and on this map, you can see the cost of flying to different places. For example, flying to Hawaii is cheaper than Rome. Flying to South Korea is also cheaper. You can also not set a date for your trip and just say you're willing to go anywhere in July for 1 week, for example, and see where can you have the cheapest vacation. Like Barcelona appears to be the cheapest. If you click on that, you can see the prices are currently pretty low as compared to the typical price.
And that's why instead of staying where I want to go, I now have a list of countries that I want to visit in the next 10 years, and keep an eye on the cost, so whenever one of them becomes extremely affordable, I will be ready to plan the trip.
So now you know how to save money on booking a flight. Let's talk about how I managed to keep my cost of staying in hotels way cheaper than everyone else, even less than 10% sometimes. And that is letting hotel price decide where you stay, instead of insisting on staying only in the places you want. For example, in Vietnam and the Philippines, hotels next to the beach are usually expensive because of location, and sometimes they have to maintain their private beach, as opposed to those hotels a couple of minutes away from the beach, where I managed to save around 3 times the money. And it doesn't only apply to coastal cities. For example, in Australia, if I were to stay in downtown, the hotels were almost $150 a day. But after a quick ride on the train, my hotel now costs only $70. And let us compare the view. I think the ones with the cheaper hotels actually look better and way less crowded.
And here's the thing, I've stayed in enough 5-star hotels to know that they're rarely the best. Most of the time, you'll be surprised by how comfortable and friendly a lot of those 4-star or even 3-star hotels and hostels could be.
So that's why I managed to keep my cost of hotels around 20% or less than what other tourists pay. Now let's move on to the food, because when traveling, you eat a lot, and that can slowly take away all your budget. But in most countries that I've visited, I rarely spend over $10 a day eating. And here's what I do. If your hotels already have breakfast, I would eat enough and skip lunch, because most hotel breakfasts let you eat till 10 a.m. or so anyway. And when you're looking for restaurants, you will notice there are 2 types. One for tourists, which is almost always super expensive, and one for the locals, which can sometimes be 10 times cheaper, especially in developing countries. But those restaurants usually don't have an English menu, and the staff only speak their local language, so you can either learn enough sentences to order food in their language, or you have to be brave enough using your body language. But I ate some of the best local food in the world and made a bunch of best friends just by going to their local restaurant. So not only did I save money, it also made all my trip incredibly awesome.
And that's why I say the cost for anyone to go on one vacation, I can do 10 vacations, and now you know my secret of traveling the world under a budget. But in this video, I used my 20 years of traveling to tell you the worst mistakes you don't want to make. And you can click on the video to see what it is.